Part 167. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lukixi. Chapter 1661. Chapter 1661. I'm getting married. On this day, my daughter slave Kitano was really sad. Because his little princess finally announced her relationship with that brat from the Ye family. It is very bitter in the North Country. I had already guessed that such a day would happen, but I didn't expect that this day would come so quickly. Baya himself took a stool and sat at the back door of his house. Neither Yuan Ran nor Beijiya could persuade him. What should I do? Even I can't coax daddy this time, Beijiya sighed faintly. Ye Qingfeng rubbed her head and said, I'll go over and try. Hence, he also imitated Kitano and took a stool and sat down on it. Two men who were acting vigorously outside were sitting at the door of the backyard of their home just chatting. Godfather, I don't have a son as old as you. You have watched me grow up, and you has been watched by me since childhood. If there is anyone in the world who is most qualified to accompany you for a lifetime, that person must be me. The implication is, if B can't even trust him, who else in the world can he trust to be kind to Beijiya for the rest of his life? Kitano is born. He has disliked Ye Qingfeng for so many years. Isn't it because he believed from the bottom of his heart that Ye Qingfeng was firm towards Beijiya? Although he usually dislikes Ye Qingfeng, he has never really stopped the two from contacting each other. Probably he has already decided in his heart that the person who can accompany his precious daughter for the rest of her life is that brat. But even at this age, Kitano still wanted to save face. He figured it out in his mind, and the words that came out of his mouth were still very poisonous. Hey, what you said is really crazy. After the chat with the small bench ended, Kitano became silent. When he saw the two children showing affection while eating, he was not as sarcastic as usual. In the final analysis, I still feel sorry for my daughter. Blankly rejecting Ye Qingfeng will only make it difficult for both juniors. After the meal, the news that Beijiya and Ye Qingfeng were together spread to the ears of these families almost instantly. Beijiya shared her good mood in the sister group. Yezhiruo, who is far away from abroad, also sent congratulations. I have prepared a gift and sent it to China, as a celebration for you and your brother. Thank you, Sister Ruo. Then I'll give you a new album, it's your favorite singer. Woo woo woo, indeed Sister Nuan understands me. It seemed that it was Nangongyu's turn, but she didn't show up. This point should be rest time, but it may also be working overtime. When I think about it, Sister Yu is the one who has the hardest work. It's really tiring to support such a large family business alone. Although I feel sad too, don't underestimate Yu. She is very powerful. The topic suddenly changed to discussing Nangongyu. Caught off guard, I heard a voice from Nangongyu, I heard you guys praising me. As she got closer, she sent another voice message, I have heard about brother Qingfeng and Xiao Yu. I wish you happiness. Hey, Beijiya posted several cute emoticons to express her inner happiness and joy. At this moment, Nangongyu's voice came out again. That's right, I also have something to tell you. I'm getting married. The voice as calm as water said, the news of getting married. The other three people in the group all wondered whether Nangongyu had also learned to joke. As if he could guess their thoughts through the screen, Nangongyu once again sent out a text, no kidding, I'm getting married. End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lukixi. Chapter 1662. Chapter 1662. Marriage without love. Nangongyujian got married. At noon the next day, she posted her marriage certificate. Immediately afterwards, the headlines of the city's entertainment news were about the marriage between Nangongyu, the sole heir of the Nangong family, and Huo Yangzi, the grandson of the Huo family. Who is Huo Yangzi? The Huo family is among the top 3 in the country. Huo Yangzi, the eldest son of the Huo family, controls multinational companies and once created unprecedented performance. He is simply the strongest in the financial world. This man who is almost at the top of power and money, and has always been in the news, why did he suddenly announce his marriage? Many reasons were revealed on Weibo, and some people even started typing on the keyboard to write a 1,000-word novel. Some people say, business marriage, indeed, even rich people cannot escape this hurdle. Some people also said, Huo Yangzi is simply a national male god. His good looks are rare in the entertainment industry, but he relies on his strength to make a living. Do such people still need to get married? Just think about it and you will know that it must be the case. It's true love. Of course, there are also people who write about sour grapes when they can't eat them. Is there a shady story here? Isn't it a marriage of a son? After all, it is simply unbelievable that a person like Huo Yangzi, who is constantly in the news, would suddenly put on the yoke of marriage. Rumors are flying everywhere, but the heroine Nangongyu is sitting in a high-end restaurant entertaining two good sisters. Sister you are really a blockbuster even if you don't even make a sound. Bei Jiyu exclaimed when she saw the photo of the marriage certificate. Mingming sees Nangongyu being burdened by the company every day, but getting married is ahead of all of them. But why have I never heard from you that you have someone you like? Xiao Yuer, not everyone is as lucky as you to meet someone like brother Qingfeng since birth. Nangongyu smiled lightly, tolerating the little girl's innocence. There are relatively few childhood sweethearts, but I haven't heard any news about Huo Yangzi before. Didn't you read what was said on the internet, business marriage? What? Bei Jiyu exploded when she heard those words. Is it too late to regret the marriage now? Nangongyu asked back, what do you think? Whoa! Bei Jiyu punched the table in anger. Sister Yu, whom she liked so much, was gentle and beautiful. She was supposed to be marrying for love, so how could it turn into a business marriage? Mo Xiangnuen, who has always been silent and rarely talks, also appeared gloomy. Seeing the two of them looking like this, it was Nangongyu, the person involved, who thought the most, okay, don't be sad. I'm getting married. You should bless me. Mo Xiangnuen said in a deep voice, if you told us today that you have someone you like, we would be very happy, but marriage does happen quite often in their circle at this stage, but they all grew up under the doting of their parents. They are used to seeing parents who are united by love and love each other. How could they do that? Accept marriage calmly, something that is only for profit and has no emotions. Thinking about it, I still feel confused. Sister Yu, when do you plan to hold the wedding? No wedding. Ah. It's just a marriage as long as everyone knows about it, the wedding is not important. Does your godfather and godmother also agree? Of course not. Of course Nangong Luo and Gong Qinyu couldn't agree, so she decided to kill him first and then tell him. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 1663. Chapter 1663. She interrupted his good deeds. Because of Nangongyu's incident, Bei Jiyu was depressed all day long. After get off work, Ye Qingfeng took her to have dinner, but she didn't talk much along the way. Not happy yet, is it because of you or? Yes, brother Qingfeng, you don't know. I was really sad when I heard sister you tell us that it was a business marriage and there would be no wedding at this point. My eyes became sore and tears fell out. She sniffed and said, sister you said it with a smile, but the smile on her face was different from usual. I could see that she was not happy at all. Brother Qingfeng, why do you think sister you is doing this? She is the only daughter of the Nangong family. Both her godfather and godmother love her so much that there is no need for her to get married. Sister Yu is so kind to me, just like a biological sister. I hope she can be happy. I originally thought that a gentle and beautiful person like her should deserve the best man. Brother Qing Feng, do you think Sister Yu is joking with us? Many people say that they cannot empathize with something that has not happened to them, but even if they cannot empathize with it, people close to them will still have their own feelings. It can be said that the Ye family triplets and Nangongyu grew up watching Beiji. They all love Beiji, it's true. But because Yezhiruo pursues a better self, he seldom gets along with them. Mo Xiongnuan also likes silence. Only Nangongyu is gentle and considerate to everyone around him. For Beiji, Nangongyu is her biological sister. Now she sees her sister marrying a loveless marriage, marrying a man who is a stranger to both of them. She is so unhappy and has to force a smile. She feels really sad. Yet Qing Feng listened quietly to all Beiji said. He can understand Beijiyu's current thoughts very well. Everyone's life in the world is different. It is impossible for everyone to live according to their own wishes. Even the beauty you expect is only what you expect. Everyone protected Beiji so well that they couldn't bear to destroy the most true, kind, and beautiful part of her heart. But the reality is like this: if you dig out the bright and shiny surface, what is hidden inside may have already become dripping with blood. Brother Qing Feng, is there no other way? No, everything is yours own choice. Whenever Nangongyu asks them for help, they will try their best to help. But if Nangongyu chooses to get married, they can only bless him. Even, a marriage without love. The clear night breeze coaxed Beiji for a long time. The assistant called him and told him that the place was ready. He looked down at the little girl who was crying until she was tired in his arms, and could only postpone the surprise he had prepared for her a few days ago. After a few days, Beiji slowly thought about it. She ran to Nangongyu's apartment, intending to personally give Nangongyu a gift she had carefully prepared. I hope Sister Yu will like it. Hold the gift in her arms, she opened the door of the apartment directly using fingerprint verification and password as usual, and found that there was no one in the living room. At first I thought that Nangongyu hadn't gone home yet, but suddenly I heard some movement in the room. She thought Nangongyu might be in the room. Sister Yu, are you there? No one answered her. Nangongyu knocked on the door. The door of the room suddenly opened from the inside, and a strange man appeared in front of her. The author has something to say. Ha ha ha, at times like this. End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 1664. Chapter 1664 99.9 points Huo Yangzi. No, this man is not a stranger either, because she has stared at Huo Yangzi's face hundreds of times in the past few days. Of course, she watched it secretly behind Ye Qingfeng's back. She just wanted to see clearly what kind of man her beloved sister was married to. Appearance, 99.9 points. Stage, 99.9 points. She also searched for Huo Yangzi's voice. It has a very magnetic attack tone, which is very different from Ye Qingfeng's gentleness. It can be regarded as 99.9 points. As for why it is stuck at 0.1, it is because in her heart, a perfect score of 100 will always belong to Ye Qingfeng. On the surface, Huo Yangzi is indeed a very good person. Except, he had many ex-girlfriends, and Beiji wrote down all of them in a notebook. Beiji. You know me, Beiji was surprised that he could call out her name accurately. But then I heard a cold smile coming from above my head. Seems a little dissatisfied with her? Beiji frowned tightly, mentally reducing Huo Yangzi's score to negative again. This Huo Yangzi is indeed not a good person. Fortunately, Nangongyu appeared in time. Before Beiju and Huo Yangzi officially became enemies, Nangongyu pulled her into the living room. Beiju couldn't help turning her head and glanced at Huo Yangzi, because she thought the man looked at her in a strange way, a little annoying. But they have obviously never seen it. When turning back, she suddenly remembered something and her ears turned red with embarrassment. Beiju leaned forward and asked in Nangongyu's ear, "Sister Yu, am I disturbing your good business?" The ambiguity in the words is so obvious. Nangongyu tugged at her and said with a calm smile, "It's nothing." Beiju thought she was shy. It's okay to call her a little girl. She is too well protected, but in some aspects she is still too simple. Beiju even naively thought that they were about to have a spark of love. So she happily ran to the coffee table in the living room, took the gift she had just prepared and handed it to Nangongyu. "Sister Yu, look, this is a gift I specially prepared for you. Open it and see if you like it." In the exquisite packaging box is a set of jewelry, including headgear, earrings, bracelets, necklaces, and even anklets, which were designed by Beiju himself. Originally, she wanted to make these to give to her sisters, but now that Nangongyu got married, she modified the design and made a complete set of them. The materials used are naturally the best. This set of jewelry is energetic and gorgeous, and people will fall in love with it upon seeing it. Received the sincere blessing from his sister, Nangongyu was overjoyed. "Xiao Yu's design is great, I like it very much." "Hee, it's good that Sister Yu likes it." Beiju, who received the praise, almost forgot that she was still aggrieved by Nangongyu's marriage a few days ago. Just when the two good sisters were chatting happily, Huo Yanxi suddenly came over. This man is tall and has a cold face, which makes him a bit scary. Yet Xingfeng has always been gentle to her. Suddenly encountering such a sharp contrast, Beiju was a little scared. The smile on Nangongyu's face gradually disappeared, and he took Huo Yangzi and introduced him to Beiju solemnly. This is my husband Huo Yangzi, you should call me brother-in-law." "Hello, brother-in-law." Beiju shouted obediently. Huo Yangzi still had no expression on her face. Beiju thought that she had just disturbed their good deeds, and she was ashamed and afraid, so she found an excuse and ran away quickly. End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 1665. Chapter 1665. Jiyu Qingfeng, propose marriage. Beiju was actually happy when she accidentally broke up the good relationship between Nangongyu and Huo Yangzi. When she was dating Ye Qingfeng, she couldn't help but tell him all her vision for the future. "Brother Qingfeng, let me tell you, for someone as good as Sister Yu, how could anyone not like her?" Beiju said with a silly smile. Ye Qingfeng listened quietly, without interrupting or denying her beautiful imagination. He just waited for her to finish speaking before asking gently, "Well, you won't be sad anymore, will you?" Beiju nodded vigorously, "Of course. You have to think for the best in everything, and you will definitely have good days in the future." Seeing her finally smiling, the big stone in his heart finally fell. Ye Qingfeng stared at her and said with a smile, "Since you are so happy, I will give you another gift." "What?" "Follow me." The two naturally held hands. Ye Qingfeng took her to a villa she had never been to before. From the entrance to the villa, everything she saw was beautifully laid out. It is not as formal, simple, and elegant in style, nor as casual and comfortable as European style, nor as natural and brief as American style. This place has a fairytale feel. Beiju looked at it for a long time and thought deeply, this decoration is a bit strange. Ye Qingfeng asked her with a smile, "What's so strange?" Beiju stood on the stairs, holding her chin with her hands and looking at the exquisite layout below. She thought about it and said, "It's a bit like the house in the storybook I read when I was a child. I liked it so much at the time, I even drew a picture, but I don't know where it was lost." I know. Huh, Beiji looked back at him in surprise. Ye Qingfeng pulled out a piece of drawing paper like magic and said with a smile, here it is. Probably because it has been over time, the creases on it are clear and the color of the pen has faded a little, but you can vaguely see the childish style of the little girl when painting and her imagination and longing for beautiful fairy tales. Beiji was stunned when she saw the painting on the paper. Ye Qingfeng's thoughts drifted back to more than 10 years ago. The little girl at that time was only 5 or 6 years old. Beiji, surrounded by stars, has been a little princess-like existence in their eyes since she was a child. Of course, the princess loves fairy tales and childishly made a promise that she must build a castle when she grows up. She drew her best imagination on paper. In fact, the drawings of a 5 or 6-year-old child were very simple, but he understood them. Not only that, he also kept the childish painting properly. I don't know when he came up with the idea of turning her wish into reality. Today, he can finally hold the hand of the little princess in his heart and enter the fairy tale he created for her. On the day of Yes Group's press conference with Coco, he deliberately showed his sincerity in the live broadcast because his castle was about to be completed. On that day, he could bring the little girl over and confess his love to her in her childhood dream. He was prepared for everything, but he failed to predict that the little girl's jealousy would spread to others. Fortunately, it's not too late. Now, not too early, not too late, just right. Beiji was so moved that she shed a few tears in front of Ye Qingfeng. It just so happened that at this time, Ye Qingfeng also took on the heavy responsibility for the finale. He stood in front of Beiji, took 2 steps back, held the ring box in both hands, and knelt down on one knee. So, will Miss Beiji marry Mr. Ye Qingfeng? End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 1666. Chapter 1666 Nangong used tears. Brother Qingfeng, did you do this on purpose? Beiji's behavior after being proposed to was, she squatted next to Ye Qingfeng and burst into tears, her tears smearing on Ye Qingfeng's shirt. As for the answer, it's obvious. But this scene is really weird. Have you ever seen a man propose to a woman, and the woman squats down and hugs him while crying? Xiao Yuer, can you let me put the ring on first? Oh. She quickly wiped her tears and stretched out her hand blankly. The golden ring was just the right size when it was put on her ring finger. Brother Qingfeng, if I tell Daddy that you proposed to me, will he kick you out with a broom? She cried so hard that she still had the intention to joke with him. Ye Qingfeng touched her head, always tolerant, it doesn't matter, no matter how he chases her away, I will never leave Xiao Yuer. Beiji patted her chest and assured him, don't worry, I will definitely protect you when the time comes. Ye Qingfeng couldn't help but laugh, then I'm afraid that my godfather will really set me up as a non-resident household in the Bei family. Ha ha ha, no way. 2 people who had been secretly in love with each other for many years squatted on the ground and laughed like children. Beiji hasn't graduated from university yet, so getting married is certainly not in a hurry. But Ye was only worried that his daughter-in-law would run away, so he went to talk to Yuan Ran every day recently. In the end, the 2 families agreed to let the 2 children get engaged first. But even if it was an engagement, Ye Qingfeng took it very seriously. It was also at this time that the heads of the Ye family and the Bei family discovered that Ye Qingfeng had been secretly planning for a long time. When they agreed to get engaged, Kitano originally thought of making things difficult for Ye Qingfeng, which would take him a year and a half anyway. Unexpectedly, Ye Qingfeng directly threw out 3 sets of engagement plans, which confused both parents. Daddy, Mommy, Godfather, Godmother, and Xiao Yuer, you can discuss it and see what suits you best. Ye Qingfeng smiled calmly. Bai Ye was so angry that he couldn't eat. This brat has long made up his mind to marry his daughter. Maybe he has even arranged the marriage and is just waiting for their nod. Looking up again to see his daughter looking at the engagement ring with silly joy, Kitano was heartbroken. But in the end, Kitano did not question Ye Qingfeng's engagement plan, but acquiesced to his daughter's choice. The day of the engagement. In the splendid hotel, the guests coming and going are all high-profile people, because today is a big day for the engagement between the president of the Ye Group and the daughter of the Bai family. The invited guests are either rich or noble. The two protagonists of today's engagement party are the most dazzling, attracting everyone's attention as soon as they appear. This loving union won everyone's blessing. Nanggongyu, who was sitting on the edge, quietly wiped away a tear from the corner of his eye. The two people who finally became an unmarried couple hugged and kissed passionately. Nanggongyu looked at the two figures and gradually lost consciousness. She has seen Bai Jiyu working hard and secretly falling in love with her for many years. Fortunately, the two lovers finally got married. She turned around and left her seat, heading towards the bathroom, but as soon as she left the hall, she was suddenly pulled away. Well. She turned around in shock and saw Huo Yanxi. Nanggongyu frowned, "Why are you here? What, you don't want to see me very much?" Nanggongyu rarely ignored him. Huo Yanxi pinched her chin and said, "Yeah, it must be hard for the person in your heart to be engaged to someone else, right?" End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 1667. Chapter 1667 Huo Yanxi's terrifying jealousy. The person in your heart is engaged to someone else. Are you unhappy? Nanggongyu pushed his hand away and cursed, "Madman." She turned around and wanted to leave, but Huo Yanxi grabbed her with such force that her wrists hurt. She gritted her teeth and never asked for mercy. Huo Yanxi looked at her and smiled coldly. After a while, he finally let her go. Nanggongyu stepped into the bathroom and saw in the mirror of the sink that his face had been pinched red. Her wrist is still hurting. Looking at the embarrassed woman in the mirror, she couldn't help laughing at herself. If Xiao Yuer sees me like this, she will definitely be frightened and cry. In Bai Jiyu's eyes, she will always be the gentle and beautiful sister Yu. Coming here today to witness the engagement ceremony between Ye Qingfeng and Bai Jiyu was probably the happiest thing she had ever done in the shortest time. Nanggongyu adjusted his condition before going out. Unexpectedly, Huo Yanxi was still there. Her brows twitched, obviously not wanting to see this man. But Huo Yanxi was still walking towards her. Nanggongyu just stood there, as if his feet were frozen. Indeed, she has no way out, or if she retreats, she will most likely anger the terrible man Huo Yanxi. "We've finished watching the engagement ceremony. Is it time to go?" Huo Yanxi asked. But this question was no different from an order to Nanggongyu's ears, because she knew that Huo Yanxi was definitely not asking for her opinion, but asking her to leave now. "I'll go say hello to them." "Say hello, don't be reluctant to leave when you see that person." Nanggongyu found it difficult to explain to him. Huo Yanxi believes that no matter what others say, he is not willing to believe it. Instead, he will think that you are quibbling. This is Nanggonggyu's personal experience. She found a perfect excuse to explain to everyone, and personally said her blessings to Ye Qingfeng and Bai Jiyu. "Brother Qingfeng, and Xiao Yuer, you two must be happy in the future." Bai Jiyu hugged Nanggongyu happily, not wishing to wish her well. "Yeah. Sister, you must be very happy too." After Bai Jiyu let her go, Ye Qingfeng put his gentle hands on her shoulders. Ye Qingfeng is not as simple as Bai Jiyu. He knows many things that should be said and not said. What he left to Nanggongyu is the most true promise: "Yuer, if you need any help, tell your brother and never refuse." Never refuse, This is such a heavy promise for Ye Qingfeng. Nangongyu was very moved. Although they are not related by blood, they are really more trustworthy than brothers and sisters. At this moment, no one noticed that Huo Yangzi's face was covered with coldness as she stood on the attic, as if a snowstorm was coming. Huo Yangzi's eyes fell on Ye Qingfeng's hand. The hand, holding Nangongyu's shoulder. If possible, he would really like to chop it off. In that case, the woman would probably be so angry that she would want to help him kill her. Nangongyu, I gave you a chance. After a while, Huo Yangzi appeared downstairs. He just appeared in everyone's business, causing everyone to talk about it. He walked straight towards where Nangongyu was. Nangongyu felt a chill running down her spine. When she looked back, she saw Huo Yangzi standing behind her. She was afraid that Huo Yangzi would go crazy here. She doesn't want Huo Yangzi to destroy everything here. Come here. End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 1668. Chapter 1668, Robbery. Come here. Huo Yangzi smiled with the corner of his mouth, but Nangongyu felt scared when he saw his smile. If Ye Qingfeng's smile is like the spring breeze melting into snow, then Huo Yangzi's smile is like heaven and earth shattering. With such an expression, he must be in a bad mood. But Huo Yangzi called her over, and she couldn't hide. Nangongyu quietly clenched his fists and slowly approached Huo Yangzi. Huo Yangzi stretched out his hand to hold her slender waist, as if to declare the initiative. As a host, Ye Qingfeng naturally cannot neglect his guests, and he is also a guest with an extraordinary relationship. He brought 2 glasses of wine from the waiter and came forward with Beijiu. Mr. Huo, since I am married to you, maybe I should call you brother-in-law. Beijiu whispered, sister, you asked me to call her brother-in-law before. The voice was neither loud nor quiet, just enough for the 3 people standing nearby to hear it clearly. Ye Qingfeng glanced at her and said with indulgence, as long as you are happy. He handed a glass of wine to Huo Yangzi. Huo Yangzi made no move. Nangongyu nervously tugged Huo Yangzi's finger. Huo Yangzi finally stretched out his hand to take the glass of wine, clashed the glasses with each other and drank it all in one gulp. Since Mr. Ye loves your fiancée so much, don't you mind letting her call me brother-in-law? Ye Qingfeng nodded without changing his expression, of course. Speaking of which, Huo Yangzi is 1 year older than him. There is no disadvantage in being called brother-in-law. The 2 enigmatic men faced each other face to face, and the atmosphere gradually solidified. Fortunately, Mo Xiangnuen came over and said that Yezikan asked Ye Qingfeng to take Beijiu to the other side to greet the guests. This episode successfully resolved Nangongyu's crisis. She didn't dare to stay any longer, so she took Huo Yangzi and left the hotel together. After leaving that place, Nangongyu breathed a sigh of relief. She was really worried that Huo Yangzi would cause trouble inside, and she didn't want to implicate those 2 happy people because of her own affairs. Nangongyu frowned at him and asked, Huo Yangzi, why are you here? The iconic scary smile on Huo Yangzi's face remained unchanged. My wife's relatives are engaged, and I'm here to send blessings. Isn't it reasonable? Hee. This is really the funniest joke she has heard this year. It's considered lucky if a person like Huo Yangzi doesn't cause trouble. Who dares to expect his blessing? It's best to stay away from him. Nangongyu, you are a woman who can change your attitude so quickly. You talk sweetly in front of Ye Qingfeng, and you show off your face in front of me, specifically to try to spite me. No, she just couldn't smile in front of Huo Yangzi. No matter who you are thinking about, you are now my Huo Yangzi's wife. I warn you, put away your little thoughts, otherwise don't blame me for not being able to bear it one day. Hearing Huo Yangzi's warning, Nangongyu's heart fluctuated violently. That's enough. Don't threaten me with them, Huo Yangzi, You are really scary. Terrible, but I still got you. He pinched Nangongyu's face and forced her to look at her, but Nangongyu glanced away uncomfortably. Huo Yangzi was so angry that he kissed her lips directly. Nangongyu reached out and pushed twice, finally giving up the struggle and enduring all this silently. 2 tears fell from the corners of his eyes. Who would really want a business marriage? Without a love marriage, everything Huo Yangzi did to her seemed like an insult. She thought, Huo Yangzi just wanted to push her to hell. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 1669. Chapter 1669. That night half a year ago. Don't want. Nangongyu sat up suddenly, her head was dizzy. She pressed her forehead and her thoughts were gradually brought back to reality. She had another nightmare. The sky outside the window was bright and it was still early, but she couldn't sleep. She has been in this state for a long time. When did it start? Probably, from the day she and Huo Yangzi really got entangled. Half year ago. At the high-level meeting of Nangong Group. General Manager, this time Huo's enterprise wants to select a company with stable development as a long-term partner. Our company must strive for such a good opportunity. Nangongyu quickly browsed through the information about Huo's enterprise and made the most favorable decision. Well, I have already read their requirements. They are mainly looking for industrial cooperation related to jewelry this time. Our company has focused on jewelry in recent years. The design should meet their requirements. Let's work hard this time and make a plan as soon as possible. Huo's enterprise is a multinational enterprise. If we can cooperate with Huo's company for a long time, we can not only earn huge profits, but also make the name of the Nangong family famous. Nangongyu has been sitting in the position of general manager for so many years and has made many good achievements and won praise from everyone, but there are always 1 or 2 old people who have objections to her identity as a woman. If she can succeed this time, then she will have peace of mind in Nangong Group. Nangongyu attaches great importance to this cooperation. Many companies were keeping an eye on Huo Yangzi. When they heard about his return to China, they all sent their men to guard the airport. I didn't expect that he was flying on a private plane, and no one knew when he would land. Nangongyu drank 2 glasses of wine with his client that day, but his head was still clear. Thinking that it was not far from the apartment, she planned to walk back to get rid of the smell of alcohol. Unexpectedly, a homeless man smelling of alcohol would appear halfway. She was so frightened that she fell between the horses when she ran away. A strong headlight shone over him, and the car suddenly stopped 50 centimeters away from him. Nangongyu was still in shock, but the drunken tramp caught up with him. She couldn't run fast in high heels, so she had no choice but to place her hope on the car owner in front of her. Because her father, Nangong Luo, is obsessed with cars, she has heard about almost all vehicles. She can tell at a glance that the car is a global limited edition, and the people in the car are either rich or noble. So she ran and knocked on the car door. The driver opened half of the car window, and Nangongyu hurriedly asked the driver for help. But the driver was in a dilemma. Sorry, miss, I can call the police for you, but I can't let you get in the car. Seeing that the homeless man was about to catch up, Nangongyu took off his high heels and yanked them backwards. He hit the homeless man in the face, causing him to sit on the ground in pain. At this time, she heard an intriguing voice in the car. Interesting. Before she had time to think about it, she heard the driver say, Miss, please get in the car. As someone helped her, she naturally got into the car without hesitation. I remember glancing at the car purchase list from her father Nangong Luo before. Besides her father, there were 4 other people, all of whom were wealthy, so she dared to get into a stranger's car. Nangongyu was sitting in the passenger seat because the driver mentioned was sitting in the back seat. There were no lights on in the car, so it was a little dark. She glanced back, but couldn't see the gentleman's face clearly. It was just that voice that lingered in her ears for a long time. End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lou Kixie. Chapter 1670. Chapter 1670 Meeting, Mr. Huo. Sir, please give me your surname if I have the opportunity, I will definitely repay you. The man seemed to be disdainful of her gratitude. The driver answered on his behalf, our husband's surname is Huo. Nangongyu nodded. Although he was still frightened because he was scared just now, he naturally had to put on the best attitude when facing his benefactor. She smiled slightly, her words full of gratitude, I'm really grateful to Mr. Huo. Of course, Mr. Huo was not so kind as to send her to her home, and she did not want to let strangers know where she lived, so she said she wanted to get off the car in a crowded street. The driver stopped the car on the side of the road, and Nangongyu thanked the two of them again before getting out of the car. When the night wind blew, she suddenly came to her senses. Your surname is Huo? Driving a luxury car that is limited to the world? Isn't that, 9 times out of 10, it's the eldest grandson of Huo's enterprise and the person in charge of the cross-border cooperation project, Huo Yangzi. Nangongyu began to regret why he didn't ask more questions just now. It would be nice if this road were longer. Perhaps she can have a few words with Huo Yangzi. Of course, what happened this night was just a small episode. The news of Huo Yangzi's return to China aroused heated discussion, and many reporters even went to his hotel to stay. But Huoyanzina's whereabouts are elusive, and no one can really make an appointment with him yet. The photo that the reporter exposed was not of Huo Yangzi meeting and negotiating with a company boss, but of the girlfriend who changed around Huo Yangzi almost every 3 days. Nangongyu was holding coffee and standing in front of the window reading the news about Huo Yangzi. Judging from the information recently revealed by gossip reporters, Huo Yangzi is harder to contact than imagined. A man with extraordinary strength like Huo Yangzi never lets reporters report anything of real value. How could such a man be obsessed with the gentle land? Such people are even more difficult to defeat than those so-called serious people. But in order to cooperate with the company, she had to try it out in person. No one could reach Huo Yangzi's point, so he held a bidding meeting by himself. Nangongyu personally went there with the plan that had been reviewed many times, and saw only men everywhere. There are also women, but almost all of them are secretaries or department directors. Unlike her, she is the leader of the Nangong group. Most people who hang out in shopping malls are cunning, and Nangongyu is no exception. But she has outstanding talents and looks, is gentle and polite to others, and has a pleasant voice. Most people fall in love with her suit skirt. But she never plays the business interest exchange game. Nangongyu is gentle and polite to everyone, but he is also alienated from everyone. Gradually, she became a goddess-like existence in the eyes of everyone who could only be viewed from a distance but not played with. Think about it, with her family background and financial resources, ordinary people cannot afford to offend her. When it was time for the official start of the competition, Huo Yangzi refused to show up. About 3 minutes later, Shan Shan, an assistant from Huo's enterprise, arrived. The assistant told them that Huo Yangzi had something to do and could not be present today, but the competition would still continue and today's meeting would be videotaped. There is no other way, everyone began to work hard to show the advantages of their company. When it was Nangongyu's turn, she was calm and her tone was soft, but no one questioned everything she said. After each company went on stage to give a speech, the assistant asked them to wait for the good news. Everyone gradually left, but Nangongyu sat there until the end. End of this chapter.